Senator John Barasso is on the line. Good morning, Senator. How are you?
Hey, great to be with you, and it's great to be in Casper today.
Yeah, well, it's a nice weekend for it, so my recommendation, do what everybody else is going to do. Get outside.
I'm going to do what everybody else is going to do. I'm getting a haircut tomorrow, Glenn.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Lord, I need one bad. Speaking of that, let me ask you real quick, because I know you've had to go back to Washington, D.C. to handle some business and then come back here. So you're going between Casper, Wyoming, and a major city. Can you real quick just describe the difference between the two? Does D.C. look like a ghost town?
Well, I've been in Wyoming for the last month, and in Casper. That was the right thing to do. But we are going back Monday. It is time to reopen the Senate. We need to do it smartly. We need to do it safely. But look, if doctors and nurses and truck drivers, grocery store workers are all showing up for work every day, the United States Senate needs to be in session. We're going to do that on Monday. But you're right. I'm going to travel with wipes to wipe down the seat. I'll have a mask for the plane. The planes are doing some things in terms of spacing in their empty center seats, but you still have to be very cautious, wash your hands thoroughly, all the sort of social distancing that we talk about in Wyoming and that people in Wyoming have been doing and doing rightly.
All right, let's talk real quick about reopening the economy then, because that's pretty much come to a screeching halt, and there's a lot of work to do. Just got done talking with Representative Liz Cheney about the Paycheck Protection Act. What is the Senate involved in right now? Yeah,
well, first I want to tell you that what you started the show with you and Nick talking about the need to get the balance right. And I think the governor has gotten the balance right. When you take a look at health needs, economic needs, security needs for individuals, I think all of that in Wyoming has done it right. You can always count on the people of Wyoming to do it right. In the Senate, working with, and Liz and I have been working closely together along with Mike, we're focused on people, focused on the disease, and focused on the economy. And, here in Wyoming, we've been very fortunate. A little over 400 cases, 7 deaths. We've been much worse hit by the economic impacts of coronavirus than with the health impacts. And then we've been flatlined in terms of energy, in terms of agriculture, in terms of tourism. So that's my focus now, and has been. What can we do to help Wyoming make sure we're doing well and opening wisely with regard to the health impacts, but focus specifically on the economic needs of the people of Wyoming as we come into this recovery phase.
Now, Senator, you said last week that Congress should hit the pause button on federal spending for the time being in order to evaluate the effectiveness of how that has gone before we go further into the purse. How effective do you feel the federal response has been?
Well, I think that we've done exactly what we needed to do early on in terms of this $2.7 trillion CARES Act, which puts so much money into Wyoming small businesses. I think Liz mentioned over 7,000 small businesses, over $800 million, but also for our small community hospitals, every hospital, the healthcare providers, because these hospitals in the small communities work on such a slim margin. We talked to the Secretary of Health and Human Services just the other day about that. There's additional money coming into Wyoming hospitals. We got some 3 weeks ago, another batch last week, some more coming this week. Airports have been receiving aid as well. But so much money has now been committed. The state of Wyoming last Tuesday got $1.25 billion, with a B. I mean, even at 0.25% interest, the interest on that alone is $9,000 a day. So we want to make sure that that money is being spent wisely. I've heard Pelosi and Schumer saying, "Oh, we need more money to the states," and some of these states have been doing things irresponsibly for decades. And I'm not going to ask the people of Wyoming or people of America to bail out states' bad behavior. Some of these have been cesspools of mismanagement for decades. When Chuck Schumer comes on television and he says, we need to do more, and then he says election reform, housing, Postal Service. Nancy Pelosi says OSHA rules, bail out pensions. That is not the responsibility of the American people. We've done it right in Wyoming. We're going to continue to do it right. So when I look at additional legislation, I want it to be targeted and temporary to help Americans get back to work, to deal with the disease, to help get the virus behind us. The best thing we can do for our country is get back to work and do it safely.
All right, Senator Barasso, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator.
Coming up on some local business you and I have to take care of. Then it's going to be Fox News local news update on the weather forecast, and you're going to get back into a special town hall edition of Wake Up Wyoming, 6:55.